What a crazy day it's been for the crypto space. CZ, the founder of Binance, even tweeted out, slept for 4 hours to wake up to Silicon Valley bank troubles. USAG, which is the US Attorney General, specifically from New York, I believe, suing a crypto exchange called KuCoin. The White House wanting a 30% tax on mining electricity, specifically for Bitcoin mining in the US. It is crazy. Huobi token flash crash and other crypto prices dip a significant amount. Now, if you've woken up, you're probably still happy to notice, hey, 95% of the crypto space is still intact, but it was pretty crazy. You can see that right here. It says Bitcoin is down roughly 8% throughout the day. I don't think that's correct. However, I am not completely sure, as indeed we've gone from like $23,000 almost, I think 22,000 something, all the way down to 19 point something thousand dollars. Similar way, Ethereum moved down a lot, and I'm actually surprised to see some of the altcoins like Cardano holding up significantly well, only being down 3%. But yeah, as I said, it was a crazy day. Huobi tokens down 22%. It is absolutely wild. Anyway, our trade that we talked about yesterday did not perform too well. Unfortunately, it hit our stop loss quite quickly. And right now we are moving down to the nearest support. You can see yesterday in my video, I talked about our most important support levels, which are $21.7 thousand and this little area that I wanted to get a juicy entry in. I did get it, but unfortunately we got stopped out, which is not bad because in trading, you win some, you lose some. And as long as you win more than you lose, or at least you make more profit than you lose, everything is perfect. And as of this point, we're doing pretty nicely. Anyway, our next most important support zone is lying here at $20,000. And as of this point, again, we are expecting a rebound based on a couple of different reasons, which I'll show you guys in just a second. It just showcases, or it looks as if most of the selling pressure, a lot of the steam is gone. Then again, I'm a fundamental type of guy. I notice a lot of this FUD. I notice a lot of this negative news, like a major crypto exchange getting sued in the US, like a major new tax that was introduced in the US for crypto regarding stuff. It's just a lot to take in. And I've been posting a lot of this stuff on my own Twitter as well, which you can probably see by just scrolling through. New York State Attorney General Letitia James announced that she has filed a lawsuit against KuCoin. And I've been tweeting out a lot of different things that have been happening here. Biden is going pretty wild on the tax department all of a sudden, and he's planning to close some different crypto tax loss harvesting loopholes as well. Then again, from a different area, Mt. Gox has been delayed yet again, and there's just so much negative stuff, so much pressure. It is crazy. Anyway, in regards to our trade, let's talk about it. We've talked for a good bit earlier about some of the divergences which we are seeing right now. But as I've stated, a lot of this selling pressure on the short term looks to be gone because of some of our targets that have been hit. Now, one of these to explain is this broadening wedge. Now, again, you can kind of see for yourself here, our price objective is basically the start of the move at roughly $20,000, and that's already what we've gotten to right now. So for this specific move, the profit is already taken. However, on a little bit of a shorter term, a 4-hour time frame, we're also having ourselves a price target that's roughly at $18.5 or so thousand dollars, because we take this move right here. Again, you can just quickly see, I try to put in these little images so you guys understand what targets we have. This is a minimum price target that people are looking for. I think most people I've spoken to are looking for roughly the 18.3, like roughly this point right here, as a end zone for their the trade right here, which is a little bit lower. Again, if we input here, it definitely still does work depending on where you targeted your first point right here. But when looking back at the crypto charts, one of the things you notice is that between our major barrier at $17.7 thousand, as that was our first initial bottom all the way back in June of 2022, that's when we thought that the bottom was in, until it went lower all the way down to 15,000. Anyway, that $17.7 thousand barrier, it does not look as important as time progresses because there's a lot of bottoms being made in roughly the 18.5 or so thousand area. What we're looking for right now, as of this point, is indeed potentially another move a significant amount lower. I'm talking another $1,700 or so lower. If you look at it from the perspective of this specific indicator, The reason I'm being a little bit skeptical is because we have seen in the past that while we work with these halving cycles and a very major bottom was made, we've been below the 200 weekly moving average for a long time. The only thing is we've touched, like I said before, the 200 weekly moving average now. We've touched upon it, get a little bit of a rebound. And I said to you guys as well, if we go towards this $17.7 thousand level, it does not mean we're going to break through and actually get a lower bottom. It could just be that indeed you have yourself a bottom at, let's say, 15,000 bucks. You get a massive pump going, touch a major resistance, get a little pullback. In this case, you're back towards the trend line on a logarithmic scale, I believe. Yeah, here we go. So get towards the trend line again at roughly $17.7 thousand and then bounce and continue towards the upside. As generally speaking here, almost every single time it's touched this trend line, it's come back to it a couple times. You can see right here, back in May of 2017, we've broken the trend line, we start to move upwards, hit ourselves, in that case, not necessarily an important resistance because I believe this was unprecedented territory. Yeah, Bitcoin's price hit $3,000 for the first time there. After hitting an all-time high, broke back down, came back to the trend line before it went on to go and make another new high. It did it here again. It came to the trend line, bounced off it, went up roughly 46% or so, then crashed back to the trend line before making another attempt at a high. Not exactly, but you understand. It went up 350%. Not sure it did it here too much. It just had a little bit of a stroke right there. Kind of crazy how the price went. But here now we're up roughly, let's see here, 78% or so from that bottom. If we then pull back another 30% before we then go up like 500 or so, is it really that bad? Is it really that crazy? Not too much. Anyway, like I was just saying, a lot of people are saying that right now we are starting to lose steam because it's basically arching out a little bit. Our selling pressure is fading. And the way to easily describe it is with the structure that you're seeing. It's moving along like this. Once you're starting to understand that in this case here, prices are continuing to fall, making newer lows. But the RSI, our indicator here, is not showing the same faith. It is not making lower lows. It's actually making higher lows. And again, simply put by Investopedia, here is a little talk about divergence oscillators. A bullish divergence occurs when prices fall to a new low, while an oscillator, in this case here the RSI, fails to reach a new low. This situation demonstrates that even though bears are still there, and they're indeed taking our prices down more and more and more, they're losing a little bit of that steam, which again can also be represented by the way in which the price has been moving before. Again, you understood here that the bulls were losing a little bit of power. We were increasing in terms of price, but not really that drastically anymore. So we had a little bit of a breakdown, came towards the previous resistance turn support at $21.7 thousand, which was a very important barrier. We broke down towards $20,000, and right now, again, within this little zone here, within this entire area, it's going to have to decide whether or not the bears or bulls win. But it's 20,000 bucks. Major psychological barrier, major pressure from both sides. And so it's a little bit more difficult on this one than on most other levels. Anyway, the situation demonstrates bears are losing power and that bulls are ready to take control of the market. Again, often a bullish divergence marks the end of a downtrend. On the short term, indeed, it could be that this little downtrend is very quickly over, as indeed the bears are losing their power, and a couple of indicators have indeed already gotten to their profit targets. And $20,000 is a very nice bounce to have because it's such a major psychological barrier. With regards to XRP, I'd like to give you a similar sort of story, but the problem is the XRP price has moved quite independently from Bitcoin over the most time. I mean, right now there are a couple of different structures forming and we are looking into a couple of different trades, but it's literally been so long since XRP made some major moves. I know it's still up 70% within this little midst, but it's again relative. I mean, XRP has seen such crazy price action over time. It's just that right now, relatively, in comparison to these 2021 moves of, for example, 1,200%, that's kind of unprecedented in Bitcoin on such short terms. Right now, it just feels very boring. And especially if you start thinking about the lawsuit that is ongoing and the very harsh selling pressure or buying pressure that could deliver just quite shortly here. All these little moves here, they just do not look as relevant as they do with Bitcoin. I mean, we've talked here recently about how XRP keeps making bottoms on XRP versus Bitcoin at this like 1,560 Satoshi mark. It's done that for so ridiculously long, I can't even just look back and see anything else except for this line. And indeed, as I said before, the way I think it's going to go is that XRP versus Bitcoin, at least over the next little while here, is going to continue to gain all the way towards like 2150 Satoshi or so, which is a nice, from this percentage on, or from this level, about 20% or so more gains, which could happen within another week or two, would not actually be too crazy. But generally, that's just the direction I think we're going, because XRP seems to always bounce off of this level. Again, just look back for yourself here for a little bit. Throughout 2020 November, so basically when the lawsuit started, all the way towards now, it's bounced off of this level every single time. And you can only see for a very small part of the history has it been below this level, as most of the times in history here, it basically has some sort of resemblance with this level or this zone. It's touched that level so ridiculously many times. It's just something very important to watch. And in my opinion, this also showcases that it's below the moving average as well, which it only gets above in these very, very bullish markets, which we've not seen obviously for a little while here. That XRP from that perspective versus Bitcoin is quite undervalued. As I stated over on Twitter, XRP as of this point is actually my number one holding again. My number one holding is XRP, my number two holding is Ethereum, and my third biggest holding is Bitcoin. It just sometimes changes. But I think for the most part, it's been a pretty good decision, as XRP here has also lost a lot less money than Bitcoin has. As right now, it's just a Bitcoin game with these major lawsuits, these major decisions, and yeah, that's about it. So generally speaking, to come back to it, we're quite bullish on the matter. There is still a little ways to go down potentially. However, I do not think we're going to actually make a lower bottom. And there is on the 50-minute chart, on a short term, a potential for a nice juicy little breakout here towards the upside again. Potentially because we are not really crushing that $20,000 barrier too much, and potentially recouping. Because again, as you see, we are on the short term seeing this nice little wedge right here, and we could get a nice little rebound here of potentially only like 3% or so towards the entry right here, but that is still a juicy trade if we're able to take it. Anyway, you can see, let me actually make it bigger for you guys, how these things come along and how the pattern here is quite comparable and quite clear. Over on the XRP, by the way, I should also address here, with a symmetrical triangle, again, we usually take the lowest point to the highest point here and have a breakout towards either side. It's a symmetrical triangle. In this case here, we've been going down, 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 right? So our initial take is that from this point on forward, since the bulls are not winning, the bears are not winning, but generally speaking, XRP versus Bitcoin is going to outperform. And on the, let's say medium term here, we do think Bitcoin is again going to recoup. We are expecting a little push on XRP because it has to do that versus Bitcoin as well. But again, it's a breakout towards either side. So just watch out for where XRP breaks out on. This is a weekly chart though, where again, in comparison to this wedge here, this is a 15-minute chart. This is a very short-term thing. So I'm going to post a video as soon as possible and wait for a potential breakout here on the 50 minutes. But yeah, look out for this, potentially a nice little 3% profit just on the short term. Looking out for that, and I'll see you guys again in another one.